What up, dickheads? We're back with more Assassin's Creed lore deep dive videos. And when I say lore deep dive, I don't mean that at all. This is just a fucking rant about my problem with the Assassin's Creed game. Namely, the fact that a lot of these Assassin's Creed games, they just either they're not necessary or they didn't need to be an Assassin's Creed game. And the new one, especially, it just feels so forced. It's so shoehorned in. A Viking game would be really cool, but does it need to be an Assassin's Creed game? Do you need to force in this idea that you're an assassin? No, I don't think it is required. And when we look at previous games, the first game is a perfect example of that works as an Assassin's Creed game, and that was what defined the genre. And the second game, I think, did a good job of, you know, adding something else to the story. And Brotherhood was fine. I think Revelations wasn't really necessary. I feel like we should have ended Ezio's saga after Brotherhood. Revelations, in my opinion, just wasn't quite as good as Brotherhood. And the tower defense minigame, that was fucking trash. 3, again, American Civil War is a good premise. The game was fine, and I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it for what it was. But then we came to Black Flag. This was my first real problem with this series, is it feels like we're kind of getting away from what the original idea of Assassin's Creed was, and we have this piratey game, which, in my opinion, would have been so much better had it just not been an Assassin's Creed game. I mean, for 80% of that game, the main character didn't even want to be an assassin, and I resonated with that. I was like, yes. The dude was like, oh, I don't want to be an assassin because I'm not an assassin. I was like, yes, that's my point. I agree with that. Don't do assassin. Just be a pirate. Steal sugar from merchants. Attack navy ships. This is great. That's exactly what I wanted. I really liked that. But then, the last 20% of the game, he was like, oh, I have some Assassin's Creed destiny to fulfill, so I guess I'll just do that. And I know, why? We don't need to have this. It's so shoehorned in there. And the game would have been so much better had it not been an Assassin's Creed game. And then we come on to Unity. This, again, the French Revolution's such a good premise. And but did it really need to be an Assassin's Creed game? I don't think so. And then we move on to Syndicate. Now, did this need to exist? Did Syndicate, does it add anything to this? No, Syndicate sucked. It doesn't exist in my mind. And then we come to Origins. I mean, yeah, Origins is fine. It's pretty good. Like, it works, whatever. And then we come to Odyssey. And now Odyssey, again, I feel like, did this need to be an Assassin's Creed game? Could we not somehow just, worked in a different story? Did it have to follow this Assassin's Creed storyline? And then we move on to the new game. And does it need to be an Assassin's Creed game? In my opinion, no. A game about Vikings sounds great, and the Viking-y part of the game is great. Raiding towns, stealing shit, very fun in general. It's going to be fun for a while, and then it's just going to force you into this whole, the dude becomes evil, now you have to take him out, and you have to assassinate him, whole Assassin's Creed style. Can we not, please? Just a Viking game sounds great, and it would be great if it just wasn't an Assassin's Creed game. And in my opinion, for a lot of these games, just starting with a blank slate would work so much better rather than having to fit them around the Assassin's Creed story. A guy comes into the boardroom with a story idea, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we have an idea for a story, Vikings." And the Ubisoft guy's like, "Okay, let's file that under Assassin's Creed." And they're all thinking, "Well, can't we make a new IP? Can't we make a new game that isn't about assassinating people? That isn't just generic story? Include it into this set of games. That there are too many Assassin's Creed games. Can we, just stop for a minute and let's get an idea. Let's think. Let's make this game not about assassinating people. Just an idea, please."